What's up everyone, it's your boy Raji, and today I have a much more serious video. Now, I took a day to process the United States loss to Belgium in the round of 16 at the World Cup, and I think that this loss has much bigger consequences than people realize. Now that loss, absolutely embarrassing on home soil to put up that kind of performance, I think that that loss could be the end of soccer in the United States. Now, when I say that, I don't mean that, soccer is going to cease to exist in the US or that we're not going to qualify for any more World Cups. No, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I think that this loss proved and showed that the United States will never win a World Cup for the rest of time. I'm going to explain that in this video. Now, I want to put this game into perspective to start. This was the biggest match in the history of United States football or soccer. You had the whole country behind the United States men's national team and the sport of soccer for maybe the first time. I mean, you already had one of the highest ratings for a soccer game ever in the United States in that round of 32 game against Bosnia. And you were projected 50 plus million in ratings for the game against Belgium. And it turned out to be the biggest broadcasted soccer game, most watched soccer game in American history. You had the chance to grow the game exponentially in this country. Get new people watching the sport, not just for this World Cup, but also after, getting people that thought that this sport was dumb, that it was soft, that it was lame. You had the chance to get them engaged, to get them following, and to get them in love with this sport. And to go out and put up that performance, that lack of effort, it's disappointing, and it truly sucks for all the soccer fans in the United States that watch the Premier League, the Bundesliga, that have been following forever. That was just heartbreaking. I mean, that performance is, in my opinion, the worst United States sports performance in our country's history. It was that bad. The team that went out there showed no heart, no grit, no passion in front of the largest audience soccer has ever seen in this country. They were unmarked guys. They were outworked, outjumped. Some of the worst box defense I've ever seen. I mean, I saw our star player, Christian Pulisic, albeit maybe not his fault, but quitting in the biggest match of his life. And that's just the surface level for him. That is the team that showed up. And you can see through the screen that these players just didn't have it. There have been U.S. men's national teams that have been way worse, like the Donovan era, the Dempseys, the Altidore era, the Tim Howard. Those teams weren't good, but you could tell they were putting every single ounce of strength, effort, grit they had into the games they played, especially at the World Cup. And for this United States team to do that on home soil, in front of, again, the largest crowd, the most eyes that soccer's ever seen in this country, it is shameful. It really is shameful the way they went out and played. I mean, our literal president, the president of this country, got involved. That's how much people cared. People were tuned in. That our president got involved, made a call to FIFA to get our top scorer back in Flo Balian. And still, to put up that lack of effort, it's almost unfathomable how badly they failed us. I mean, it was like Balogun was serving his red card suspension on the pitch. It's like he still had the red card. It was just an unbelievably disappointing performance from this team. You know, we also had the chance to dunk on all Europeans around the world, all the people from outside the U.S. I was seeing it leading up to the game throughout this tournament. Looking down on the United States football team, the United States soccer team, saying, oh, they've always looked down on American soccer fans, oh, our chants suck, this and that, and our chants do suck. But, all that talk from the Europeans, we had a chance to shut them up. And even in the comment sections before the game, I saw Americans, spamming American flags, Eagles, play Freebird. It's called soccer, right? I mean, the care that the people had on social media even behind this team, we had a chance to really just silence everybody and show that America is now on a higher pedestal than people thought. But what we saw today was soccer. What we saw from the United States against Belgium, that was soccer. That wasn't football. That wasn't art. That was soccer. Maybe that's why we call it soccer. Not because we're better or different. It's because we suck. Because we can't play football. Clearly, I guess we can play soccer. Now, I think I've talked enough about the game itself, the United States performance, the roster. How many times have I said, since the roster dropped, why is Tim Ream on this team, right? I think I've talked enough about that. So I want to segue now into what I think are the actual and severe consequences of this loss that the United States had. Now, on a broad scale, I think this could be the end. This was our golden generation on home soil. I mean, how many times have you heard U.S. soccer analysts and U.S. soccer fans in this country saying, oh, the future is bright, the future is bright? I mean, after 2010 World Cup, after the 2014 World Cup, we said the future is bright. After we missed the World Cup in 2018, we said the future is bright. Even after we lost in 2022, we said the future is bright. I mean, that's the team that's going to be in its prime in 2026 when we're on home soil. Well, this team in this World Cup, this was the future is bright team. This was our golden generation on home soil. And they failed us. They failed us. That was the future. That was what we have been building up since 2010, talking about the progression of soccer in this country. The culmination was this team. And again, I'm not saying that I don't think anybody expected this team to go out and win the World Cup. No. And it's one thing to lose, right? Again, nobody expected this team to win the World Cup. But to lose the way they did, 4-1, embarrassing at home, to lose like that, our golden generation, to lose like that. How can people come back after the game and say, oh, the future is bright. The future is still very bright. That was the future is bright. And that was not bright. That was very dark. And that loss, that feels like a dagger in the heart of not just this United States team, but United States teams for the considerable future. Now, the real root of problems for soccer in the U.S. is the pay-to-play system in the youth system. It's the youth system in the United States soccer that has ruined and is ruining our chances to compete at a high level in this sport. Most kids can't afford to go play for academies for thousands and thousands of dollars a year. That's what it costs to be at a top-level academy in the U.S. You $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, upwards of $10,000 a year to play soccer and develop properly. Most people can't afford that. So they choose free sports, like football and basketball. In other countries, soccer is free to go to the top academies like Real Madrid's academy, La Masia, Barcelona, Manchester United, those top academies. It is free. It is free. It doesn't matter how big your wallet is. It matters how big your talent is. It doesn't matter where you come from, how much money you have. The talent is what gets you on those academies. So you're not weaning out the talent based on money. That's why these countries, they have so much bigger of a talent pool because they are not ostracizing kids based on money. Now, I'm throwing up a quote from Twitter from this guy who really explained it perfectly, the pay-to-play system in the United States, and also the difference in transfer process that we don't have in the U.S. So in Europe, if you develop a player from a young age and another club wants him, they buy him from you. And the club keeps that money. So let's say you develop a player that turns out to be very good in the youth, in the under 17s, under 18s, whatever, and another club wants him, and they'll pay $25 million for him. The club keeps that money, right? In the United States, That's not how that works. You develop a player, you sell them, they don't keep that money. So in Europe, you're incentivized to develop your players. You want to develop your players to be the best because you make money from how good your players are. In the United States, there's no incentive for developing your players because you don't make money from it. So how do the United States academies make money? Well, they make money from enrollment fees, from the kids' parents who have the money to pay the enrollment. So what do you incentivize in U.S. soccer? You incentivize on attracting and keeping the kids whose parents have the most money. It doesn't matter how much you suck. If your parents can keep paying that enrollment fee, they want you. And that is the issue with United States soccer. We don't care about developing players. We don't care about developing people with real talent. We just care about making money. That is the issue. And we have absolute clown shows, losers like Alexi Lalas, defending this, defending the pay-to-play system. They're so out of touch with reality. Maybe because they made it through the pay-to-play system and all this. I don't know, but they're so out of touch with reality, and they're seriously clowns on TV advocating for this pay-to-play system. It's a joke. It's a joke. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that, if the United States' best athletes played soccer, we'd be the best country in the world. Our best athletes don't even play the sport. That's not what I'm saying. And anybody that watches soccer knows that that's a stupid take. Soccer is much more about athleticism and size. There's way more to it than just athleticism and size, right? We know this. But you have millions of Americans saying this online because this team failed so badly. This USA-Belgium game was the chance to show that this system, this pay-to-play system, should be changed, that more kids should have the opportunity to play soccer, to lose that stigma in primary, elementary schools that, soccer is for wusses and fragile kids, This was the chance to turn that around. Instead, 80% of the kids that started to love the sport for the first time had the game turned off by halftime. It was that bad of an effort. Now, I just kind of covered the rooted issues of United States soccer and how that loss impacted that. I want to move on to talking about real soccer fans in the U.S. and how this loss is impacting us. So when I say the real soccer fans in the U.S., I'm talking about the people, the real soccer fans. They watch Champions League, they watch Premier League, they watch soccer. It's not just the World Cup or the big tournaments, the Premier League, La Liga, the domestic trophies, Bundesliga, everything. The real soccer fans. We are obviously a very small minority in this country. I mean, we as soccer fans are viewed as losers and outcasts. And we're met with, why are you watching American football and basketball are way better. None of our sports shows or sports media, American sports media does not cover soccer whatsoever. ESPN, NBC, Fox Sports, CBS, name it. Nobody is covering soccer. Nobody's reporting it. Nobody wants to pick up the rights. Nobody wants to broadcast the games. You can't even watch a high-level Champions League knockout match on TV. It's not even on TV. Nobody is covering it. But this World Cup and this American team, for the first time, the entire American media was talking about soccer. I mean, in my entire life, I have never seen more American media and American media personalities talking about soccer ever. So, go on social media, USMNT, World Cup. I've never seen more people talking about soccer. I mean, First Take, First Things First, Stephen A. Smith, Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharp, Nick Wright, all our biggest media personalities, sports media personalities are talking about soccer. ESPN, Fox, NBC, even our national news was talking about soccer. CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, even they were talking about soccer. The whole country and the entirety of American media was invested in the sport, in this team, in this tournament. And for the United States to put up that effort and that performance in the biggest game of soccer in our country's history, to lose is one thing. To lose like that, it might have just killed the sport. I mean, nobody's going to want to talk about soccer after the World Cup's over now. Nobody's going to want to broadcast more soccer games, more league games and Champions League. No one's going to want to do that. I mean, no, American media, they're not going to be talking about the Premier League or the Champions League. I mean, if the United States, in the biggest game ever, if they performed like that, I mean, why would we want to watch soccer? Why would we want to talk about it? They're not going to talk about it. That could have changed, though. That really could have changed. We could have had the Premier League, Champions League, La Liga, but we could have had that being a main talking point in sports media in America. That could have changed. But not anymore. That's done. You know, and for fans, for United States soccer fans, well, for the first time, we weren't losers. We weren't looked at weird for watching soccer. Everybody was watching us. I mean, everybody was supporting people that only watch American football or only watch the NBA or only watch it. Everybody was watching this team, this sport. I mean, they were loving it. I had friends that only watch football and basketball. I mean, most of my friends, they only watch football and basketball. They look at me and they say, "Why are you watching soccer? You're weird. That sport sucks. It's for losers. It's for foot fairies," they say. These guys were watching soccer and they were coming up to me telling me, "Hey, you know, I think I'm going to start watching soccer after this tournament is over. I mean, I think I'm going to start watching soccer after the World Cup. This is awesome." Not anymore. They all had the game turned off by halftime. That is the impact of this loss that I'm talking about. It killed the potential soccer culture in this country. You know, and for us, real soccer fans in the United States, yeah, we're back to square one. We're back to being losers, back to being outcasts. I mean, oh, you're still watching soccer after the United States went out and did that terrible performance? I mean, who wants to watch that? It sucks. Yeah, we're back to square one. We're back to watching the Champions League final and the Clásicos and the derbies. We're back to watching those by ourselves in our basement rather than at a packed out bar like it was during this World Cup. And I don't think the team, U.S. men's national team, realizes that was such a big consequence for us fans, the real fans that watch soccer every day. So to wrap this up, this was the game that soccer in the United States has been building up to. This was it. This was the pinnacle. How does it get better than this? Our golden generation, the promised generation, the generation we've been talking about since 2010, with playing the World Cup on home soil, with the whole nation watching, the most eyes that soccer's ever had in this country. The media invested, the government invested, the chance to make soccer a staple sport in this country on home soil. And this team embarrassed us. They quit, they showed no fight, and they might have just killed soccer in the United States forever.